Okay, thank you very much for being here. It's a real honor for me, on behalf of the Dutch Embassy and also the Dutch Cycling Embassy, to stand for you. My name is Herbert Tiemens. I'm working for the province of Utrecht. That's my daily job. Let's see if the sound's going. It's swinging a bit. I don't know if you can hear the sound. Sound is. Okay, well, I will try to do it like this. Maybe this is better. Or this is better? Okay, no, I do it like this. My name is Herbert Tiemens. I'm working for the province of Utrecht normally, and the province is encouraging the 26 municipalities in the province to have more cycling. And some people asked me already, "Oh, you Dutch, you cycle everywhere. Why should you encourage people to cycle more?" Well, that's because we also invest into car traffic, and we also invest into public transport. So if you don't invest into cycling, then you will lag behind. You go backwards in a way. So that's the reason that we are investing in it as Dutch. And this year we are chairing the European Union this half year. And that's why we decided, as all Dutch embassies in every country in Europe, to have special events about cycling in all cities. So last week I was in Finland to promote cycling, and also in Estonia. And other colleagues, they were everywhere in all capitals of Europe. We do this by the Dutch Cycling Embassy. And the Dutch Cycling Embassy, that's a cooperation between all kinds of organizations in the Netherlands that are working in the field of cycling. So I'm one of the government, but there are also the NGO, the Cyclist Union, is working with them. Kerékpáros, he was last week in Budapest to talk about cycling. But also we have the bike rack manufacturers, they have consultants. And we all work in the field of cycling, and we want to promote cycling everywhere in Europe, because we see it's very good for your health, it's good for the environment, it's good for the cities. A question for the audience: who has been in the Netherlands? I have. Good. Yeah. So not everyone has been there. Maybe you don't know what is Dutch cycling. So I have a short video, and the link you can watch it later completely on the internet. It's from Bicycle Dutch, Mark Wagenbuur. He's very famous about his videos. He shares it every week. He makes a blog post, and he's very good. He wanted to be here today, but he couldn't because he had other obligations. But I guess next time he will join you here, because he is very good in observing what's happening on the streets of the Netherlands. He made a short video about cycling in Utrecht mostly. it goes on for 5 minutes, 6 more minutes, and it's normal people like you and me riding bicycles in the streets. And what I like about this video is that it shows that it is really for everyone. It is cycling that we are doing for every purpose. We go to school, we go to work, we go to the shops, we go to visit friends, to go out in the evening. And in the end, we see that almost 28% of all trips are made by bicycle in the Netherlands. And also walking is taking 18% of all trips. And that's not including walking to public transport. Of course, a lot of people are also walking to the bus or to the train. But almost half of all the trips in the Netherlands are made by vulnerable road users, so to say. That's quite a lot. And that has historical reasons. We had already a high share of these modes, but also we maintained it. We maintained it since the 1970s to build special infrastructure for cyclists, to build segregated cycle paths, and we are now very happy to have all those people. And we see in our statistics that especially younger people, the youngsters 12 to 16, well, they make the most trips by bike per day, but also the older people, they are still cycling a lot, and you can see here in blue, women, they tend to cycle more than men in the Netherlands. And well, most of the times women have a stronger feeling for safety, and when it's very safe for them to cycle, then it must be really safe on the streets. So we're quite happy to have these statistics, but we still have to work on it to have it better. Also, if you look to the distances, you see that especially the youngsters, young people, 12 to 16, 16 to 18, 18 to 20, those are the people who are cycling a lot. They're cycling to school, sometimes quite a long distance. They have to cycle up to 15 kilometers to cycle to school one way, because the high school is not in their own village. And that is only can be achieved if you have a safe infrastructure. Well, and then if you look to the road safety in the Netherlands, these are the recent figures. These were publicized last week. Then we see that cyclists, yes, they are victim of crashes. 185 fatalities we had last year, and that is quite stable. It's not growing, it's not rising, but it's still worrying. We see also in the number of injuries, people that are injured by a collision or by an accident, that number is rising. I will talk about that later. And also, yeah, the number of car fatalities is rather high. These are for all the roads in all the Netherlands, so 70 million people have this number of fatalities. In total, some 650. It has gone up last year, so that is something worrying. If you look to the trend of the last 40, 50 years, we see that as reason of the rise of motorized transport, also that was in the 1950s and 1960s in the Netherlands, then we had more motorized transport. Then the number of fatalities went up quite a lot. And even in my year of birth in 1972, we had the high peak in 1973. It was up to over 3,000 fatalities in the Netherlands. And that was the turning point. We saw that we had to change the road policies, we had to rethink our road network, but also we had to rethink our transport network and also the transport itself. We saw a lot of fatalities in yellow in the mopeds, a lot of injuries on pedestrians in the green, cyclists, but most of all they were the car users that had the fatalities. And well, of course there were a lot of measures implemented. So there was, of course, for the cars, the introduction of the safety belt and also the automatic brake system that was later implemented, the airbags, but that's only protecting the driver itself. And also the moped helmet compulsory making, that's protecting the driver itself, the driver of the moped. And, but of course there are other measures like the speeds that had to be enforced, and also no drink driving anymore, and that is more protecting people that are not in the car but that are just a victim of car abuse. And in the late 1990s we came up with lower speed limits. We'll show you how we are dealing with that in the Netherlands. And we also were working with, well, in fact, we see cyclists not as pedestrians and also not as car drivers, but as a apart identity. We see them as cyclists. They have their own needs. They want to keep their speed because they have to make the speed by their own energy, so they want to keep their speed. They have difficulties with the surface. They want to have a flat surface. They want to have a good surface. If the surface is okay, they can pay attention to other traffic. And for that, we also have in the legislation said, well, cyclists, that's a different kind of road user. In our vision, the Sustainable Safety, Vision Zero, that was started in the 1990s, we saw that we had to categorize our roads. We had to change the gradient system between the real highways, the freeways, to the alleyways, the small roads. We had to make it clear for the road users what kind of road you are and what kind of behavior you should have. It should be natural that you behave in an alleyway different than on a freeway. That's something that Peter already told about. Our roads are very clear, they explain, they help the car drivers to show the good behavior, the behavior that you want. And we made three kinds of roads. We have the true roads that are especially for cars, and it's perfectly for them. It's driving fast, it's safe, it's separated infrastructure. And then we have the distributor roads, and well, they are going into the cities, they are also connecting cities to each other. And then we have the access roads, and that are the residential roads. And we made it very clear also in the speed limits for these kind of roads. So the highways and the urban highways, they have the highest speeds. 120, well, some have 130, but that's now under debate because we see that road safety is less on those roads. The urban highways, 100 kilometers an hour. And if you go to the collector road, the arterial roads, out of town, connecting different cities, it's 80 kilometers an hour. In the cities, it's maximum 50 kilometers an hour. And then we have the small rural roads that give access to farms, 60 kilometers an hour. And when you go in the streets of the cities, it's 30 kilometers an hour. And only on these roads, 60 kilometers an hour and 30 kilometers an hour, there we mix bicycles and cars. On the other types of roads, we don't want to have cyclists here, and on those roads we have cycleways on the side. We have cycle roads really apart, and that is a safe environment for people to cycle. But when there's the lower speed or when there's a low volume of car traffic, then it's okay to mix. These principles we have that since the 1990s in every city, every municipality. they had to make a plan with a small grant from national government to categorize all the roads in the city. And they had to make a plan to show which road, which kind of road. And they had to start with implementing this. As you know, we cannot change the road system overnight, we do it step by step. And that means that, especially in the Netherlands, where we have a very bad ground foundation, it's very strong. Well, every 20 to 30, 40 years we have to renew all the pavements because it's too swell. And that gives us the opportunity to change the roads. And we're still working on it. We had the categorization from 1997. We're still working on it. It's now 20 years old. So we are halfway with implementing all kinds of measures to have a speed reduction for cars in the 30 km/h roads and to adjust it to lower speeds. When I go to the legal position of cyclists, then it's very interesting to see how it has developed. And it has developed thanks to the strong voice of the cyclist union, which we are cooperating with. Because there are regulations and that are in the law forever. Like using the cycleways, the cycle paths, that was in the law for maybe since 1928. So that's a very old rule. Everybody knows that rule, everybody is behaving on it. And of course there are some exceptions. If you have a very wide bicycle, then you can ride on the carriageway. But most people, they are just using the cycle path, and it's very clear for everyone. You have to stick on the right side of the road. You are not allowed to cycle on the left side. That's the same of Hungary, and it's also laid in the code of Vienna, in the Treaty of Vienna. We also have the same kind of legislation. And another thing that was interesting was that since 1942, cyclists didn't have priority on motorized cars. If you were approaching from the right, you had to give way to motorized transport. And well, there was a strong lobby, and I will reveal later. And also, yeah, that was really weird. But we have solved it, changed it in 2001 to give also a cyclist again that right. It's a right of priority. You cannot claim it, of course. You have to. You always have to be aware of if car drivers are seeing you, if you can negotiate who is helping you. Or if they are giving you priority. But it was changed, and it was changed in 1942 because the Germans, they introduced this. They introduced it because the Dutch, they only used bicycles, and the Germans, they had cars, and they wanted to get rid of all those irritating cyclists. So they said, no, we don't give it. We take away the priority. And that was a main issue for the cyclist union. They said, oh, it's a German rule. And of course, we are in a kind of hate-love affair with the Germans. They are our neighbors, and we are exporting all our fruits and flowers to them, but still we're losing football from them. So we're not that happy about it. But if we can neck them, that will be nice. So that was a rule that was introduced by the Germans, so it was a bad rule for that reason. And that was a good argument for the politicians in the parliament. And also we did some experiments, and we found out that it's obvious, it's clear for everyone if cyclists are using that right too. If you don't change, if you don't have an exception for cyclists. Well, and then the motorized traffic, how it is for insurance. It's obligatory to have an insurance for car drivers against liability. There were crashes, and well, sometimes it is for insurance. It's a huge debate who has to pay for it. Yeah. But also in 1992, already a strict liability was added to that. So also cyclists were protected under that law. Well, to show you an example, well, I've told already about the rule of right. This is, by the way, from the website that we are using to educate our children the traffic rules. It's in the curriculum of the schools. All schools, they have to teach traffic rules. And well, this website from Veilig in Nederland, Safe Roads in the Netherlands, they have these kind of pictures and ask questions to the children. And of course, they have to learn who has priority. Well, in this case, it is used and hidden. They have priority for the car driver. And it shows situations from everyday use for children. They make at the age of 10 an exam, and they have to answer 40 questions, and if you are 36 questions right, then you have your diploma. It's not mandatory to do this in the curriculum, but it's something nice to do. 85% of all the school children in the Netherlands has this. And I think it's very good, and also I supported myself not only by giving as a professional municipalities the opportunity to run this system in their schools, but also I'm doing it in my hometown itself. I'm organizing a voluntary practical exam. The children have to prove at the age of 10 that they really can cycle in the streets, and that's always in summertime, just before the summer, when they go out with their friends. So they have to prove with the help of their parents. The parents are sitting and they are scoring if they are doing all the right things. If they turn left, then they look over their shoulder, make signs, and so on, take care of all the traffic. And luckily, most of them, they all survive, but most of them, they do the right movements, and they are safe to cycle in traffic. And for the parents, it's also a kind of a repassage. So they are now ready to go to the secondary school, to go on their own with their friends and go out in the streets of the village and of the city. So for us, it's graduating, introducing people to car traffic or to traffic in general. And in this case, it's clear about liability, that it is car drivers that have a crash, and then you can see it here. There's a place, and the marks. The police investigate if something has gone wrong, who was the cause, and that can be for liability, but that can also be for prosecution. If someone is intentionally speeding or going too fast or taking the wrong lane, then there can be a reason for prosecution. If you're speeding over 50 kilometers an hour, then you have to go to court. But in other cases, it's just a reason of liability. In this case, it's also very clear who is responsible. The car driver, he was not driving his car, the trees fell on the car. So the transporter of the trees was liable for the damage caused. And also in this case, it's very clear, the pole was standing there, but the car driver, he was not on the right side, he was in so the crash, the car driver was at fault. It's very clear. But when it comes to cyclists and car drivers, then it's different by law in the Netherlands. This very clear crash. You see also the police is investigating it. It was a heavy crash. The windshield is broken. This was, by the way, in the city of Breda. And then they investigate. But to make it the negotiations between the parties, there is the liability law for car drivers, because there's no liability law for cyclists. There's added one rule in our road code, and that says the car drivers have always to carry half of the costs of the accident. At least half of the costs. And when it's an under 14, you have to carry the whole costs. And children, they are full protected. But in jurisprudence, it shows that it is hard to prove if there is, if you as cyclists are really endangering the traffic. If you see jurisprudence found out, even if you are drunk and riding on your bike, you're not liable for the other 50%. Even if the car driver could have seen you, then he has to take into account that you can cycle on the road on the wrong side or something. So there's something that is, I think, very good in our law, but on the other hand, do people respond to it? No, we don't see in our statistics that the road safety is better thanks to this law. We don't see any decline since this was introduced in the Netherlands. But, well, it's part of the whole system to improve the road safety. People don't have this in mind when they are driving their car or when they're cycling, that they want to do intentionally wrong behavior. They just want to go somewhere and want to do it without getting hit, and paying. The insurance is not in the minds of people when they are driving or cycling. Well, this was already showed. This is the same chart that shows how the liability is working, but now in English. You haven't already seen it in Hungarian, so I can leave it to it. It's also the 14 years, so it shows again. It's a very clear example how strict liability is working. Well, to finalize, this is Dutch cycling. It is we're talking about liability, and well, most people are not aware about it. This is Dutch cycling. This girl is going to school. She's 11 years old, and she has a Dutch bakfiets or Dutch traditional bicycle, and you can see the crate that's matching the colors of her shoes. So it's perfectly, according to the road police, it's a perfect picture. And she's happy waving to her father for the first day to go to secondary school. And he shared this picture on Facebook, and he was happy to share it. And that was because this girl, well, also the picture on Facebook, it was shared 50,000 times. And that's very uncommon. Then I put on a picture of my daughter cycling to school. Maybe 2 or 3 people are sharing it. But this picture was 50,000 times. And that is because this girl is our crown princess. And that's really nice. She has the opportunity to cycle to school. And we think she doesn't cycle every day because she is the crown princess, but it's not because of the road safety. It is really something that the Dutch royals, they want to show cycling is part of the Dutch people, and they want to be part of the people also. They are really keen on cycling. You can see Princess Juliana, she was showing her fiancé in 1937 on the tandem bike, and later on Princess Beatrix, she was showing her family on bikes, and now the king, he cycles with a bakfiets, and he's actually being seen in the village where they are living, cycling their children to school. And well, he told me once that he's really liking cycling because it's making him happy. He has well, a kind of freedom at the moment. He is not guarded, very strict. He can cycle a bit in the streets, and it's really nice for him to exercise because he is a bit overweight. So having a good exercise is nice for him. And when our princess, she cycles a bit out of town from the estate here. That's the first kilometer, and then she goes to the main road. There's the cycleway, and then into the streets of the city, and those are the traffic calmed streets. Those are the calmed streets with 30 kilometers an hour, and then crossing with a junction with a traffic light, and that's safe for her to cycle. And then she goes to school like all the other children from her age. It's very nice for her to cycle. We're not sure that she does it every day because of safety concerns. She might be kidnapped or something because she is part of the crowd. So that's a totally different safety issue. But we're happy that she can cycle and she can have all these benefits of cycling. She can have these benefits, it makes you happy, and she is well, a happy girl, and we want to share those happiness with everyone in the world. I was talking about liability, but I think it's more important to have just the fun and good environmental cycling. That's much more important than the liability issues. It is one of the ingredients that makes cycling a good way of transport and a good way of living. Thank you very much.